How many times have you gone to work and given yourself a job title that didn't exist, but you just wanted to sound cooler? It just doesn't happen, right? So why are there so many people out there calling themselves fantasy football experts then? I mean, how did they get that title? Is there a course? Is there an online course that I'm not aware of? Is there a certification test or something that you need to pass? No, there's not. There is no such thing as a fantasy football expert, and you should run away from anyone who calls themselves that. That's why today, we're looking at a few players that me and the experts just don't agree on. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everyone is doing well out there today, where we're going to be looking at a few players that myself and the expert consensus, we just don't agree on them. Now sure, some of these guys may be off by only a couple spots at their position, but you got to remember this. A couple spots at a position can be different rounds in your fantasy football draft. So if you're sick of hot takes and half-assed opinions, I got a question for you. Are you subscribed yet? Because if you're not subscribed yet, now is the time to do so. You subscribe, I drop bangers. That's how it works. Now, if at the end of the show you're like, Jake, I want some rankings that don't suck, I got you covered. Head over to tfhdraftguide.com and get yourself a 2024 fantasy football draft guide right now. Our cheat sheets are already uploaded. Now, if you want to get a draft guide for free, you can do that by signing up on Underdog Fantasy. Use the referral code Headliners when you do so, and then be sure to make your minimum $10 deposit. I'll throw in a free draft guide if you do that. But I'm not a salesman. I don't want to sit here and tell you how great our draft guide is, so this is what I'm going to do. If you're out there watching this show right now and you've purchased our draft guide or gotten one in the past, leave a comment down below. Let people know what you think. There is nothing better than product reviews from the people who have actually seen and used the product. So if you're ready for another damn banger right now, hit the like button, because we're going to dive into a few players right now that me and the experts just don't agree on. Now, I got 5 players at each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. But let's start off with quarterbacks. Let's put the 5 differences here up on the screen. We got Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford. Now, when you go back up to Dak Prescott, I got him as my quarterback 13. The consensus has him as the quarterback 8. That's too high for me. More than likely, we're going to have a below average running game, only have one stud wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. I do like Jake Ferguson, but are those two combined really enough to give Dak a ceiling season? I don't think so. Brandon Cooks hasn't done much in a couple of years. Jalen Tolbert, he's unproven. And if the Dallas defense can step it up and keep scores closer, maybe they don't have to throw the ball as much. I got Dak down at quarterback 13. Then when it comes to Brock Purdy, honestly, I love the addition of rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. You add him to Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. They've assembled the Infinity Gauntlet in San Francisco. I'm not dropping Brock Purdy any lower than quarterback 8. The consensus has him as quarterback 11. Jordan Love, I have him one spot higher than Brock Purdy at quarterback 7, where the consensus has him as the quarterback 10. I kind of feel that's disrespectful for Jordan Love. The reason I love Jordan Love the most is because he doesn't have one stud wide receiver that he needs to rely upon. They have a lot of young options in Green Bay, and if any one piece goes down, they just put another player in his spot, and it's like you're never even going to miss a beat. A lot of people can argue that Christian Watson is the best wide receiver on the team. The dude hardly ever plays, and they don't even miss him. That's why we've seen guys like Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks step up over the last year. I got Jordan Love as my quarterback 7. How about Jared Goff? I have him as quarterback 11, the consensus as the quarterback 14. This guy has done nothing but outproduce projections for multiple years in Detroit, and now we enter 2024 in what could arguably be his best opportunity for big numbers. They've already established the Jahmyr Gibbs role, and now all the talk about Jameson Williams taking a step forward this year, Jared Goff should just be inside the top 12. In my opinion, I got him at quarterback 11, consensus at quarterback 14. And then Matthew Stafford, my quarterback 12, the consensus quarterback 19. When Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams got fully healthy the end of 2023, there weren't very many quarterbacks better in fantasy football than Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp is going to enter the season healthy. We know about Puka Nacua. Don't forget about Tutu Atwell. They brought back Demarcus Robinson in free agency. A great backfield with Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. There's plenty of options out there for Stafford to go out and throw multiple touchdowns weekly. I love that potential upside. I got him as my quarterback 12, the consensus at quarterback 19. But all right, let's go ahead and move on to running back now. The main difference is Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, and Austin Ekeler. When it comes to Derrick Henry, I got him as my running back 6, the consensus at running back 10. I hear arguments all the time that Lamar Jackson is going to take away the ceiling of Derrick Henry. He just runs. He's run for years. That's just the way the offense is. The offense hasn't had a healthy workhorse running back in years. If Baltimore wants to have any chance at even winning that division, they need a healthy Lamar Jackson. How do you keep him healthy? You sign the king Derrick Henry and have him beat himself up between the tackles and not Lamar Jackson. Sure, his yardage may be a little bit lower, but the goal line touchdowns are still going to the king. That's why I got him at running back 6. How about Raheem? Not quite. You know what? Damn right, he is a must-start Mostert. I got him as my running back 17. The expert consensus, running back 25. Now, the biggest argument against Raheem Mostert is his age. Yes, he's on the wrong side of 30, but the guy's coming off a season in which he scored 20-plus touchdowns. He's going to be the lead back in Miami. Are they going to use multiple backs? Absolutely, they're going to. Devon Achan's going to be in the mix. Rookie Jalen Wright probably going to be in the mix as well. But you know what? There were multiple running backs involved last year, and Mostert isn't some guy that needs 300 touches to have a huge season. Plus, we don't even know if Achan can go out there and play a full season yet in the NFL. Can his body frame take the beating all season long? Regardless, Mike McDaniel trusts Raheem Mostert, and he's still going to get touches each and every week, and arguably one of, if not the best offenses in the NFL. I'm putting him up to running back 17. Still, you can get him as your running back 3 this year. That's great. If you're worried about it, draft Jalen Wright in the double-digit rounds too. How about Najee Harris? I have him at running back 18, the expert consensus at running back 23. Now, the biggest scare in Pittsburgh is offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who absolutely tanked Atlanta the last couple seasons. I get it. Trust me, I've never said anything good really about Arthur Smith, except for the fact that he is a much better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. You gotta remember, he's the guy that was in Tennessee behind the Derrick Henry breakout, the guy in Tennessee behind the A.J. Brown breakout. And not just that, Pittsburgh invested heavily in their offensive line this year. Even though Jaylen Warren is going to have a role, the bulk of the touches still going to Najee. I got him at running back 18. How about Tony Pollard? I got him at running back 19, just behind Najee Harris. The expert consensus, running back 26. And this one right here is everything to do with recency bias. Pollard busted last year, so we're going to drop him down the rankings this year. And that is the worst mentality. The reason that Tony Pollard busted last year was because too many people overhyped him. We said on this channel for months, he's not going to be able to return draft value. When you run him between the tackles week after week after week, he's going to wear down, he's going to lose efficiency, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Now he goes to Tennessee with no Derrick Henry, 300-plus touches available. No, they're not all going to go to Tony Pollard. He's got a split backfield with Tyjae Spears, and that is okay. They also have a trio of wide receivers in DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, and Tyler Boyd that are going to keep boxes light. But they also have an unproven second-year quarterback in Will Levis, who's going to need some help from his running game. I'm taking Tony Pollard at RB19, not RB26. And then what about Austin Ekeler? I have him at running back 25, the consensus at running back 33. Now, I am not sitting here and saying that Austin Ekeler is anything close to what he used to be, but to have him outside the top 30 overall running backs makes no sense to me. Sure, he's going to share a backfield with Brian Robinson. I understand that. Yes, they have a rookie quarterback that likes to run himself in Jaden Daniels. I understand that. They have plenty of weapons to throw the ball to, like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. How about another rookie there in Luke McCaffrey? I understand all that. But Cliff Kingsbury is a great offensive coordinator, and they brought in Austin Ekeler for a reason. Is he going to touch the ball 250, 275, 300 times? No, he's not. But he wasn't always a bell cow in the NFL. Don't forget, what made Austin Ekeler great to begin with was the role he had behind Melvin Gordon back when he was with the Chargers. We may see less touches, but more efficiency, but we're still going to see production. This year, you get it as your running back 3. That's why I'm bumping him up a couple spots to running back 25, not running back 33. But now on to the wide receivers that we disagree on. Puka Nacua, Drake London, Hollywood Brown, Terry McLaurin, and Chris Godwin. With Puka, I got him as my wide receiver 11. He's still a top 12 option, but they have him as the wide receiver 7. In order to return draft value at the wide receiver 7, he basically needs to reproduce his record-breaking year last year as a rookie. Now sure, we've seen him do it before, but is it really going to happen again? That was a perfect storm for Puka last year. Kupp wasn't 100% healthy. We didn't even see Demarcus Robinson until the second half of the year. Kyren Williams missed some time. All these guys are coming into the year healthy, and that means a lower target share for Puka. Still in line for a great year. Wide receiver 7 is overpaying. How about Drake London? I have him as my wide receiver 16, the consensus, the wide receiver 13. Now, while I'm all on board with the hype train that is Drake London, I'm not ready to overhype Drake London either. He is not the only option in this offense, as much as a lot of people want him to be. We got Bijan Robinson in the backfield. A lot of people think Kyle Pitts sucks. Hate to break it to you, he's gonna get a lot of targets this year though. Then they brought in Darnell Mooney and Rondale Moore as well. It's not gonna be every single week come out and throw the ball 15 times to Drake London. Now, while I think he has the best year of his career, I'm not ready to put him up to wide receiver 13. I dropped him a few spots and probably a round or two into wide receiver 16. How about Hollywood Brown of now the Kansas City Chiefs? I have him as wide receiver 23, the consensus, wide receiver 38. Now, the biggest question mark when it comes to Kansas City is obviously the availability of Rashee Rice, and as of right now, we have no idea what's going to happen. But what we do know is that Hollywood Brown is in line for some great production in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense. Sure, they also drafted Xavier Worthy, but don't you remember it took Rashee Rice almost 12 weeks to get an increased role in this offense? That could happen again with Xavier Worthy. If we don't have Rashee Rice, we're going to have a whole lot of Hollywood Brown. A lot of people forget about how fast that guy is. He's 4.3 speed still. Do not be surprised if we see some Hollywood and Mahomes big plays this year. I got him up inside the top 24 at wide receiver 23. What about Terry McLaurin? I have him at wide receiver 26, the consensus wide receiver 32. What is one thing that Jayden Daniels does really well? Throw the ball deep. What does Terry McLaurin do really well? Catch deep balls. He's never been a huge volume type receiver, but he is a big play receiver. He's going to enter the season as the #1 option in this passing offense. The days of Riverboat Ron and his boring vanilla offense are gone. Things are changing in Washington, and Terry McLaurin's going to be a big part of it. But what's really awesome about it, you're going to get him as your wide receiver 3, maybe even 4 this year. What about Chris Godwin? I've talked about this damn dude all off season long. I have him right now at wide receiver 27, the expert consensus at 35, but I'll be honest, he's actually climbing up my rankings right now. Godwin exploded the end of 2023 because they finally put him back in the slot. Well, as of right now, he is scheduled to be the week 1 starting slot wide receiver in Tampa Bay. They've already come out and said that's where we want him to play. And we've already seen Baker look his way when he's in the slot. With top defensive attention looking the way of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin could feast this year and is a huge discount. Right now, my wide receiver 27 and climbing. And then lastly, some tight ends, the football kind. Of course, we got Jake Ferguson, Mark Andrews, Pat Freiermuth, Taysom Hill, and Dallas Goedert, because right now I'm feeling so damn fancy. The first one is Jake Ferguson, highly underrated. My tight end 6 right now, the consensus, tight end 10. We talked earlier about Dak Prescott. Who are going to be the main targets in this passing offense? CeeDee Lamb is option 1. Option 2, it's gotta be Jake Ferguson. The guy's in line for 120 plus targets this year, and he's already proven that he can produce with volume. I got him at tight end 6. Mark Andrews, I have him at tight end 7. The consensus, tight end 4. This dude is the Deebo Samuel of the tight end position. He had one good damn year, and we've been overpaying ever since. What arguments are left for Mark Andrews? He's been one of the top options in this offense for years. We know we have Derrick Henry in the backfield. Zay Flowers going to be the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. A lot of people are saying that this could be the year of Rashad Bateman. They drafted Devontae Walker. There's other options in this offense, and Mark Andrews can't stay on the field. I'm not paying top 4 price anymore. I've dropped him down to tight end 7. Which then takes us to Patty F. Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have him as my tight end 12. The consensus, tight end 15. Arthur Smith, if he did anything last year in Atlanta, was throw the ball to tight ends. And everybody will say, Yeah, but Kyle Pitts didn't have a great year. You can't just look at Kyle Pitts. Remember, they had Jonnu Smith there as well, and he got a huge workload. There is no other tight end in Pittsburgh that's going to split volume like that with Pat Freiermuth this season, so I got him inside my top 12. What about Taysom Hill? I have him as my tight end 13 right now. The expert consensus just forgets about him. He's at the tight end 29. We already know that Juwan Johnson is hurt. Taysom Hill is used all over the field as a running back, as a fullback, as a wide receiver, as a tight end, as a quarterback. Heck, even the offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak flew out to Utah this offseason to meet with Taysom Hill just to tell him about his role in this offense. They're going to use him all over the field, and we've already seen some of that in camp. I'm not going to sit back and just forget about Taysom Hill. Now, I understand that some of you can't use him in your leagues. I get it, but if you can, don't forget about him. And then lastly, Dallas Goedert. I have him as my tight end 14, the consensus, tight end 11. Another guy that just can't stay healthy. And it's an offense that's absolutely stacked with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Now we have Saquon Barkley in the backfield as well. The production is going to be hit or miss, and honestly, the wide receivers are going to get the bulk of the volume. I love the game of Dallas Goedert, but honestly, I'm looking at past production and I'm not overpaying for it. I'm putting him at my tight end 14. But really the main reason he's dropped where he has is all these stud young tight ends that have come into the league here as of late, right? Guys like Sam Laporta, guys like Dalton Kincaid, Brock Bowers this year. The tight end position is deeper than probably it has been in quite some time. Now, like I said, if you watch today's show and you're like, you know what, I like that sound logic of those rankings and you want more, our cheat sheets are in our draft guide right now. So head over to tfhdraftguide.com and get yours secured so you can absolutely just dominate in 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm heading out front. I'm going to fire up a cigar because today we put in work. Now, if you haven't hit the like button or the subscribe button by now, do it right now before the video ends. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day, though. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.
Analytics, off the chain, all the channels, not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headline